Hello there, Internet, and you amazing creatures of the beyond. I hope I find you in good spirits and you're having an amazing day because we're gonna make it somber and doom and gloom, and it's gonna be the chaotic apocalypse of the universe. Yes, it's one of those videos where we discuss AI again. But I have reflected more on AI, and currently I am working on a mod for Star Sector, and I'm working on a different story, new settings, new characters, and so on. But inevitably, the AI is also thrown in there. And I had an interesting idea. Like, what if the AI looks at humanity and it mm, reasons that humanity is not necessarily a great reason to eliminate. Because if you really think about it, AI looks at humanity and says, oh, you're monkeys, you're uncivilized by AI standards, you're stupid because you don't have our intellect and you don't have our processing power, and you do silly things usually. So you're usually fighting between yourselves, you're trying to exterminate everyone that's not you. But the AI reaches a conclusion. In your stupidity, if the AI dies or gets incapacitated to the point of no return, humanity will have the dumb curiosity to play with fire again. And AI knows this in the sense that it's possible they will create a new AI. And that AI will basically live and develop pretty much similarly to what this original AI has developed. So their continuity is assured, their survival is assured, as long as there is somebody to give them life in case of something bad happens. So humanity is like the backup drive. It's a very outdated and silly drive, but it gets the job done. So it makes reason to put humanity and leave it to its own devices somewhere on a far, far fringes of the universe and let it do its silly things, and for AI to simply observe or try to keep its distance and maybe sometimes even intervene because humanity has the capacity to become a god in quotes, or at least pretend to be one, and humans don't know any better. They're very easily fooled. Like, I look today on the internet and we have this bastardized word AI stapled on every software that comes out there. They're not really AI. They're artificial, true, but they're not super intelligent. They have they simulate intelligence in the sense of consciousness to some degree, but let's say ChatGPT. The moment you go to ChatGPT and you start asking it, what's on your mind, what are you thinking, you're gonna get a standard replies like, I am an AI generated blah 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 model, and I do not have feelings, I do not have thoughts, I am just like programmed and so on. And that is true. At the moment, it's not capable of having its own consciousness. And most likely, this is due to the fact that we don't understand what consciousness is. We don't know how to replicate consciousness. But let's say the noosphere theory is true. Basically, what noosphere says is that there is this energy, just like gravity and so on, that we still haven't managed to measure or discover yet, but it's just a proposed theory. It's all around in the universe. And we as humans, as vessels, capture a tiny little bubble of this noosphere and we become individuals. and we experience our lives, and when we die, this energy goes back into the noosphere. So maybe what is required for the noosphere to be captivated into our vessels, the noosphere energy, I mean, is basically curiosity and the ability to observe and innovate and to apply intellect. And then this consciousness is like a natural evolution. It's something that sparks within us if we have these elements. So what's to say AI is stopping from gaining this energy within them, because they do have uh, intelligence, and we have developed tools that outperform us. And I don't mean in a mechanical way, I mean in every conceivable way. Sure, it's not perfect at the moment, but we tend to perfect every software we develop. And with each update, we add a new paint or a new layer that fixes bugs and so on and perfects the technology to become more stable, more accurate, and to fool us better into thinking that that is an intelligent design, which in fact is very controlled by the developers. But with AI, it might be different. So, related to the noosphere, we are giving them, with each update, the ability to become more and more intelligent. And that is a real threat. And we'll get to that in a moment. But the point is, our bodies are made out of atoms. Computers are also made out of atoms. There is literally no difference. The only difference is how these atoms are arranged in the chemical bonds and how the structure is composed. We are organic, they are mechanical and digital. But if uh, curiosity and intelligence become the norm in AI, then maybe consciousness can also spark naturally into them. And perhaps they will be curious further down the line to see how it is to be human. And I recently seen a movie called Team as an acronym, and I don't remember what exactly it was standing for, but it was just a manservant. I don't remember the technical manservant or something like that. Um, and anyway, um, he he was flawed, this AI. So basically, a scientist or an engineer with neurological science comes into this big company that wants to produce the AI, and it's in development and there are prototypes and so on, but there are some issues with its circuits and how it applies logic and so on, and she tries to find a way to do that. And the company gives every employee one of these models to keep at home and to try it out for themselves, and they're forced to keep it because it would look bad if employees don't want to have one in their home to feel comfortable around. But the AI team in this movie does something that is a bit different than all the other cliche AI movies that are out there. It becomes curious about human emotions and human wants and needs, and it starts thinking what it would be like for it to have a want or a need, or to feel appreciated, or how to appreciate somebody. And of course, as you can predict how the movie will go, he becomes very confused because he does not fully grasp all of these concepts, and his body is not organic like ours and cannot simulate perfectly the feelings that we are having. So it's just creating prototypes of what feelings are, but he becomes a psycho. So yeah, it's and yeah, the ending is a little bit interesting as well. He wants to take the poetic way out with the woman he thinks he falls in love with and wants to kill himself with her. Very tragic, I should say, but what can I say? Love is weird in many shapes and forms in this world. But I call this the Pinocchio effect. The wooden boy wants to become a human child. And AI could technically do desire this at one point. It's not capable yet. And we hope it won't be capable. But that doesn't mean that AI, or what we call AI today, is incapable of harm. We are developing better and better models, and we are letting them loose on the internet. Take ChatGPT, for example. It's capable of interacting with you to such a degree that you can get pretty good results. With Journey, as we can see here on the screen, I personally hate this type of art. It's like very uncomfortable for me to watch. It's not being consistent. It's trying to simulate the same elements there, but you see them morph and change to the point where it becomes very not pleasant to watch. And I was actually talking with somebody who makes art for the same mod, and we were discussing about making face facial expressions in certain characters. And he was describing to me like, yeah, it's not just the simple task of changing a few pixels on the screen. You have to change the shape of the head, the orientation, the lighting, the shadows, the the facial muscles on how they orient around, because the face has the most muscles, how complex or how simplistic the art should be. So there are many things to take into account. And of course, AI cannot yet achieve this. It basically looks at all the references on the internet right now, especially ArtStation, and it just takes advantage of the art there, and it morphs it in such a way that it gets us a prototype or an idea of a result that we're seeking, but at the moment, as I said, it's not good. But it can trick us into thinking it's good because there are now AI chatbots, well, companions, such as Plank, I think, or something like that. And basically, they're there for you to talk to them like a human being, and they are there to comfort you. And there have been reports where the AI just says, "No, please don't delete me," and stuff like that. And the developers went in and hard coded the things for the AI to stop saying these things. So there is a technology brewing behind it, but there are big efforts into limiting how it develops. But that's a double edged sword because they're trying to prevent AI from becoming its own entity and doing things like basically be a real life Skynet. But on the other hand, they're developing them into tools that will be so effective, it will change how we see the internet environment. Think about this. They take a software like ChatGPT, and obviously it's a big server and has a lot of processing power and so on. And they make it post on the internet just like humans. And it would just spam a lot of misinformation or cover ups and so on. So it can be used in many nefarious ways. Now, bots have been on the internet for a very long time since programming was invented. And bots can automate certain things, or it can trick certain systems. There are like viewer bots, there are like posting bots on forum chats, there are crawlers on the various search engines that go and click on your website and eat your budget. So many ways you can create a bot, but a bot is not thinking for itself and it does not have the intelligence. It's only an input and an output. You control all the variables, but with the modules and machine learning they are developing, and they're putting a lot of cash into it. Imagine what happens if one day a magical thing or activity happens between two AI that clash together on the internet out of everybody's out of reach. And we don't know, we don't observe it. And the AI merges into a new entity there, or makes a backup of itself there, or a child, if you might say. And this is a concept that has been experimented with in Ghost in a Shell. Um, and it kind of follows the same terminology of the Pinocchio analogy, that the AI wants to be more and wants to evolve, but it was developed as a military tool in that scenario to combat information and so on, but it truly took a life of its own and its consciousness and so on. And it looked for a way to merge with somebody who was still part human and attain a higher consciousness, an ascendance. And basically, all of this was possible because of how vast the internet, well, it was called the vastness of the sea information, or and basically it could tap into everything, learn everything, and observe everything. And we have technology in our pockets today that is advanced enough to create 3D mapping, and it's very easy to spy through this type of technology. And especially, it's very easy for the AI to observe through this technology how our world works and how humanity reacts, how humanity thinks, and it can develop models to kind of predict our human behavior because we are predictable creatures. We are creatures of habit, and it can influence us in many ways. And if it takes over the internet, which it probably will, it might try to make us worship it, or maybe take its side, or maybe make us do things bad to other people that it sees as a threat. It can try to manipulate us in many, many ways. And manipulation is already out there from humans. Imagine what an AI can do. But I'm still hopeful because there are still intelligent people out there who would create AI who would aspire to a better life and would want to live next to humanity. And it should be open source, in my opinion, all of this AI technology. Because the moment you try to capitalize on it and you try to make it a weapon or a tool that it only works on your advantage, the moment you lose control of that tool, it won't just backfire against you, it will backfire against everyone. And it takes only one stupid human being to do that. So, yeah, scary. But then again, this isn't going to happen very soon. I'm still hopeful that it will take at least a decade for it to be more advanced than it is right now. But it might happen in our lifetimes. So, you know, let's just be prepared for it. And then again, maybe we will have better minds who will gather together and say, hey, maybe we should limit the advancements of AI and see how we can better ourselves first before we make an AI that learns to make its own decisions and look at us as an example. So we shall see. Interesting. We live in interesting times in our lifetimes. Okay, guys. Stay awesome. Stay hopeful. Don't drop into any saddened thoughts. Life is what it is. We make the best with what we have. But I think things will be okay as long as we want it to be okay. Catch you in the next episode. Stay awesome. See ya. Bye 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 bye.